Sorry.
I don't know, I don't want to say unfortunate that the people around me have hurt me in one or another, especially the ones that I felt should be my safe space. So I'd rather just push it under the carpet, because you're saying, who do you go to
Yeah.
who will not hurt you again, who will be genuine to you, who will not pretend, and then you're hearing your thing somewhere else, or
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mind Your Head.
well, we get to talk about mental health, how we survive through this daring world, how we cope and still keep sane, should we say. All that will be discussed. Mind your head. It's the only one you got.
All right, and on today's episode, it's one we've all faced at some point. I have faced it, you have faced it, and whoever could be listening in has faced it, coping with failure. My name is Kanare Mugume. I'm a journalist with NBS Television, and I'm with...
Sheila Tsime, a journalist also with NBS Television and an entrepreneur.
All right. Your journey of journalism and entrepreneurship must have been quite challenging with ups and downs, but seriously, failure can mess with your head. So let's talk about how to pick up the pieces and not let it crush your mental health, because we'll talk about it later in the podcast, then break the myth that successful people can actually fail numerous times and still be successful. So let's begin this way. What has been your biggest failure in life? Sheila?
My biggest failure, I think till today, is failing to let go of, I want to call it a childhood wound, perfectionism, to understand that it's okay. Because sometimes I feel I push myself so much in that I've passed it on to my children. One of them actually gets anxiety attacks when things don't go right. So, yeah, I think that's my biggest failure.
I think anyone would say that's probably a good trait to have. How is it a childhood wound? Do you want to share?
Because growing up, my mother was and still is a perfectionist. You have to dress right, you have to sit right, you have to look right, you have to perform. Like, things have to be done in a particular way, and there's no compromise about it. No matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, things have to be done in a particular way. But that's not life, Canary. We know that. Some days you wake up and you don't feel like...
And it has to be okay.
But even in those days, for her, it had to be okay. Even when I didn't feel like going for that event, I had to show up. Even when I didn't feel like dressing a particular way, I had to. Even when I didn't feel like I wanted to greet a particular relative, I had to. So, yeah.
Interesting. I think my biggest failure thus far has been failing to strike a balance between keeping my life private and keeping it public. By public, I mean you have things about me that even just stepping out to a restaurant, like I cannot enjoy me. I can't enjoy my time with the people that I'm with because my head is running while someone probably is staring at me for 30 minutes straight. Probably instead of focusing on like enjoying the moment at that particular time, I am focusing on, oh, now, so I can't do this. I can't sit this way. I can't
Isn't
have
that
a
supposed
conversation.
to be a good thing? You're a celebrity.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So sometimes just sit back and ask, did I ever choose this correctly? And then it has its own advantages.
Of course, yeah.
What I think I've grown a thicker skin to, for example, like handle comments and online and stuff like that about
I
my
haven't learned
life.
how to deal with it. You need to teach me. Some of them break me.
You're Mchiga. You should be should be
You
with
see,
like
it
a
goes
cold
back to
stone
what
heart.
I'm telling you, perfectionism. Now, someone will throw a comment, and I see you guys online like responding to these guys. Oh, this person is in their one bedroom. They're not even quarter to what I am or what I've achieved, and
Yeah.
so it shouldn't affect me ideally, right? But also, it's that thing of it's okay to fail. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay if your hair that I remember last week I did a hairstyle that I tried out, and that time I was late. So the person working on me, I didn't have a mirror, and the comments about the hair were not good. The whole weekend I was broken.
I think I saw the hair. I think I saw the hair and I was like, this is Sheila maybe trying to try out different things.
It broke me.
It didn't look bad, honestly.
It wasn't for me. It wasn't
It
for
just
my
wasn't
face,
for
I
you.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw it. But I'm very reserved with comments because I don't want to imagine what the other person is going through on that particular day, how that story of your hair came to you, how you ended up with that hair. It could be a whole story, and I might not have the context. So I usually reserve my comments. But for one thing I've learned, for example, dealing with people who feel like they're part of my life, and these are people I've never even met, these are people 5 followers on Twitter or whatever, is one thing I've learned is that these people are actually admirers instead. They are not
Really?
they are not haters. Yes, because no one would ever say that to you face to face.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to start thinking about it that way.
I step out to events and stuff like that. I've never met someone who says it to me in my face and say, you know, all these comments I do. So, but sometimes I sit back and say, is this the life I want for my children? Because I can handle that. I have a thicker skin now.
Can they handle
But can they? I feel like the world is going to be a little more harsh. Yeah.
I think that's why most of, in quotes, let me say, celebrities, all these public figures prefer to, once in a while, just travel. Just go out of this environment and go to a place where they can be them without being watched or judged.
You know, that's how I feel when I travel, either for work or not for work or for leisure. I feel like I'm in a world where no one knows me, so I can do whatever I want as long as I'm responsible. Yeah. But questioning that exact point, you ever try to cope with failure and you question your worth?
Every day. Every single
Can't be
day.
that bad.
It is that bad. But for me, at least, I know what the problem is. It goes back to, by the way, that has affected me a lot. Thinking that it's not okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to fall. It's really draining, actually, because you have to stay here. But that's not life. Sometimes you go down, sometimes you... Yeah.
No, I feel it, and I think it's also a disorder in one way or another.
Yeah, it
I
is.
remember having a conversation with one of my supervisors and telling me, I don't feel you today. I'm like, I will have those days. It's okay for me to sound a certain way. And then,
now that, for me, my day would be gone. Like, that would be it. My day, my week, to get me back now, it would take a lot.
And then he said, sorry, but this is not who we know. I said, but I know I can be 100%, but not at all times. Said, yes, but we are used to the 100% you're giving. You got to maintain that. And then I went home, thinking, am I just not good enough?
Yeah.
Is my work not being appreciated for all the
Am
days?
Am I not allowed to make any mistakes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my supervisor told me, you know what, you cannot afford. I said, but people do here all the time. They said, well, you are not them. So I get it.
But that's also unfair. But I guess that's the world.
All right. Let's get to what were you thinking. In this segment, we just want to question some of the myths that have been going around. And time to debunk some myths about failure and mental health. There's a thing that successful people never fail.
Yeah. But because they're deliberate about not showing you their failures, right?
Yeah.
It's like how I'm intentional about not really being on Instagram a lot to check it out, and because I feel like you feel like you're doing nothing or you're not trying, because I'm really, you see me off camera. I think I'm the worst dressed person. I want to be me. I want to be free. I want to, and then you go on Instagram and you look at this person. You're like, is this person really like this every single day? Of course not. But they choose what they want us to see. So for us, we'll maybe say Canary is perfect. Canary is always dressed like this. No, Canary has a life outside that, but he chooses to show you that particular life that he wants you to see.
If you ever meet me in one of my days when I don't have anything to do, like work, especially the weekend, and you see me in shorts, don't question.
No,
In fact, I'm dressed in suits 5 days a week that I just
You
cannot
can't
wait to
wait.
get them off. If there was a way to dress on the news without the suits, I would do that.
I'm waiting
But-
for that one.
A few days, but that's you're saying something important that sometimes also need to be who we are, but also just bring in a little bit of what we talked about earlier. Failure, it's not the opposite of success. It's not that there are two extremes. It's that failure is part of the journey to success, right?
Yes.
It's not an extreme failure on this side and success on this
But
side.
unfortunately, look at it the other way, that
Yeah.
I either fail or I succeed. But sometimes I also believe in our failures we are succeeding because we learn something from our failures. We meet people on those journeys of failures that could help us continue that journey and eventually succeed. But of course, when you fail in that moment, you don't see it.
Yeah.
You don't see it. You think, okay, I have failed. But I feel days, weeks, months, or years later, you're able to say, when I fail, maybe that's the time I got to see how close I am with Canary or how much of a friend he is to me, because he was the person there.
Yep.
So the next time maybe I'm in that situation, I know where to go to, that I will not be judged, that I will be welcome, that I will be helped.
To
But
be
of course, in that
to
moment, you
to
don't see it.
Safe space.
Yes.
All right. So that's totally false that successful people will actually not fail, or failure is an complete opposite or extreme from success. Feel free to share with us your struggles. It's actually a sign of strength if you actually share and you're able to know that this is
Yeah.
what you went through. It helps you process and connect with others, like Sheila just said. All right, let's get to headspace. In this week's Headspace, let's spotlight things that we go through on a daily basis. How do you pick up your pieces and just get back on your feet? I've been, throughout this whole year, 2024, I've been struggling to make projects and they stick. I go and discuss great ideas. When I bounce these ideas off people and friends, and it's like, damn, that's amazing. This is going to be big. And then the idea actually does not kick off.
Why?
That's the thing. I've been wondering.
Why? Is it because you're the one supposed to like start the project, like everything is for you to do?
I think because of who I am and how I wish to work, I end up being seen as the person who's going to kickstart everything.
And
but
then it never starts.
Yes, but I've given myself a challenge. Maybe in the next podcast, I'm going to maybe let you know about one of the projects that I've started. But it's also out of a very deep mental struggle to say, if I believe I'm an excellent executor of things, how come these projects, you've been part of 3 of them, you are almost a brain behind them, they have not kicked off? As part of that, me struggling with it mentally, I said I'm going to give myself a challenge that before the year ends, the podcast, this is part of the things that I felt like.
Yeah.
Finally, we are on the journey, but also something else that I'll share in the next podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you pick up yourself when you feel like life is just not moving?
I'll start by saying this year has been the hardest for me. Mentally, I have thoughts. How do I come up? Unfortunately.
Like, what is that one thing that you...
No, I will say this, by the way. It's so wrong. It's very, very unfortunate. But like we said, we are really going to be honest. I bury it.
Isn't it hard, though, sometimes letting go of things where you are so attached, or individuals that you're so attached to?
That's why I'm saying it is unfortunate, because I also believe in the power of healing. So if you keep brushing these things under the carpet, eventually
They'll pile.
And that time or moment will not be a good one for the ones around you, but also for yourself. But I'm hoping that one of the things I want to look forward to next year is to start to lift up that carpet and start healing.
What happened to giving individuals and things and time second chances?
Times have changed, Canary. Times have changed. But also, I think I've just been unfortunate to meet or...
Guys, that's why we wear our shades on the show, because the things we're talking about are very, very personal and emotional. We don't want you to see our teary eyes. So, but I get it. Sorry.
I don't know, I don't want to say unfortunate that the people around me have hurt me in one or another, especially the ones that I felt should be my safe space. So I'd rather just push it under the carpet, because you're saying, who do you go to who will not hurt you again, who will be genuine to you, who will not pretend, and then you're hearing your thing somewhere else, or they're trying to use you or your situation for whatever.
Their own personal benefit. I think one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with is having my marriage affairs in the blogs, and I saw that. I said, even the people, not that I trusted them, but like even the people that you thought this would be a safe space, so they would understand that, try and do something different, and then they are the ones pushing the narrative.
Same thing.
And then you wondered, do you now close up yourself and just be alone?
But it's also...
and not share with anyone.
Yeah, it's also, like I said, eventually it breaks you. And you don't want to get to that point.
Because you don't know how bad it will be.
You don't know how bad it will be. You don't know how it will affect the people around you, the one or two that are genuine, if there are any. So I don't know how you strike the balance to deal with it, but I've given myself 2025 to slowly start to heal and deal with those issues.
I think one of the things that I do to pick up is, I've learned this year the hard way, keep your circle very close, very extremely close. And we already see these quotes, and they're never serious to our minds and awake in our minds until you go through something, and then you wonder, wait, did I open up myself way too much? Or do people just have bad intentions?
I think people just have bad intentions, because I believe if Canary is my friend, why should I be uncomfortable around him to share my day, and my day should include everything? Why should I say, I can tell him this, I can't tell him this?
Who are
you going to tell? You
start creating circles where you share specific things to certain people.
and that can be, I feel like it's draining, really. I'd rather then keep to myself.
Yeah.
But it's also not good, because when you have your achievements, when you have your...
You just want to share.
Yeah, you want to share. But you see, these days, I will say, Canary, I bought a car. And someone is not happy for you. You'll see how some sugar daddy got you the car, and yet you shared, out of joy.
Out of joy.
I finally got a car, maybe a car that I wanted. And so...
I think one of the things that I felt that I needed this year is to share with someone my personal things and not feel judged. But it's very difficult to discover that. Thanks for sharing, Sheila, and being honest. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Mind Your Head. It's the only one you've got. Remember, failure is just a detour, not a dead end, like we always say. Don't forget to follow us on socials, Mind Your Head. Feel free to share what have you been up to lately that you felt like failure has bounced back once or twice in your eyes, and you even doubted your potential and your worth. I'm Canary.
And I'm Sheila. Catch you next time.
And feel free to share this episode to whoever needs to hear this particular one on failure.